Pauline, then let me see. Okay.
It's
All right.
recording.
Okay. All right. So with that, once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. We are so happy that you are here, and you are welcome to the 4th Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program eLearning Initiative webinar. Please introduce yourself in the chat. And as we go on, you get opportunity to share if you have questions. Before we delve into the conversation, here are just a few housekeeping rules to keep in mind. Please ensure you're always muted at all times, unless when we get to the questions sections, when you have a question and you prefer to ask rather than to write it out in the chat. If you have questions or comments, please use the chat. We will also be dropping a Padlet link in the chat where you can go there and add comment, questions, and we will make sure that it gets to the panelists that we have here today. Before we move on, I'll just briefly maybe for some of you, this is not your first time on the webinar. For others, this is your first time. So due to that, I'll take a few minutes to just share about our project. This is the eLearning initiative, and this initiative leverages the strength of a trilateral partnership between the Mastercard Foundation, the United States International University in Africa, and Arizona State University here in Arizona. And basically, we leverage that support to partner with institutions to build the capacity to accelerate, adopt, and sustain e-learning. These partner institutions that we've been working so far with include 10 universities that are both public and private universities from Benin, Costa Rica, Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Lebanon, Rwanda, and Uganda. So far, we've held 3 successful sections, as you see on the slide. We had these 3 that have passed, and today's one is the 4th version that is on inclusivity within digital learning. So in addition to that, the initiative offered, on a competitive basis, a small research grant to support research evaluation and learning effort at these 10 institutions. And after everything, 10 projects came out of this small research grant as the finalists. And in today's webinar, we are going to have 3 of them share their findings and their learnings, and we could all learn from that. The work that they are going to share is going to cover various aspects of inclusivity on online learning in the public universities in Benin, in Ethiopia, and in Rwanda. As I said earlier, please, if you have questions, add them to the chat or the Padlet so that we can share with them. And as you also see on the screen, there are other webinars coming up, so you can take note and join us. And now, before I move on, I'll just briefly share this project. Our team here is led by Professor Iveta Slova, a professor and associate dean at the Teachers College here in Arizona State. And just quickly on the screen, you have Dr. Pauline Wambo, Dr. Horn, you have Minji, you have Kelvin, and you have Daniel, and you have myself, Prince, based here in Arizona, and our 2 colleagues, Kelvin and Daniel, based in Kenya. So that is the team. And without spending much time, I'll just move on to our 3 panelists today who are going to share much of their learning with us. And the order in which we are going to go, I'll just briefly introduce our panelists. Then after that, we will go one after the other. So first is Mr. Tariku. So Mr. Tariku is a lecturer and an e-learning champion. He's a legal scholar at the University of Gondar. He's a researcher and who has been working within the education field and in University of Uganda for close to about 10 years. Next is Mr. Leon, and Mr. Leon is an instructional designer at the University of Rwanda. And within the University of Rwanda, he leads their EdTech solutions, and he's a certified model trainer. He leads the development of the customer training sections within the University of Rwanda. And we are so happy that he's here today to share his work with us. And next is Dr. Vincent. Dr. Vincent is a lecturer, and he's the coordinator of the pedagogical activities at the Center of University Pedagogy and Quality Assurance at University of Aboka Malawi in Benin. He's a value chain analyst specialist, and his research covers value chain, agriculture, finance, education, and gender. And today we are just so happy that Dr. Vincent is also here to share his wisdom, his findings, and his learning from the small research grant with us. So without much ado, I will move on to our first presenter, who is going to be Mr. Tariku. And Mr. Tariku will just share with us, what they did, and he's presenting on the regulatory frameworks of e-learning integration in inclusive higher education learning. So without spending much time, let's welcome Mr. Tariku to take us through his presentation today.
Thank you very much, Prince, and thank you very much for the wonderful introduction. Hello, everyone, and the panelists, and obviously the participants. So the basic presentation that we focus and that I present is on the regulatory framework of e-learning integration with higher education in Ethiopia, with a special focus on students with disabilities. So here, the main focus is being one, the things that need to be clarified are, first, we focus mainly on the legal and policy frameworks and how the law and the policy and the strategic documents recognize inclusive education in the setting of higher education. And the other thing is we understood here e-learning in a sense that in a broader understanding that include digital learning. So those technology tools or educational tools that can be employed to support learning or the teaching learning process, and that could make learning more accessible for the students with disabilities is included within this definition of e-learning in this study. This is what we need to take note. So, but we mainly addressed three important research questions. The first one is how the inclusive educational policies and strategic documents are informed of e-learning in a way to recognize inclusive higher education, or in a way to enable the implementation of e-learning higher education. The second research question that we studied was what's the practice and what are the challenges that these higher education institutions face in the implementation of e-learning tools to enable inclusive higher education. And third, and not the least, but the last, would be how our targets, students with disabilities, are affected by the practical implementation of such technological tools, and or how higher education institutions practice could affect them, and how the legal and policy frameworks could also influence their learning practice. This is within this framework that we based the research. Next slide, please. So the method that we employed is mixed research method. So the first, by mixed research approach, we meant both quantitative and qualitative methods being employed to provide this a complete picture of the study. So the quantitative approach mainly is contained by the survey questionnaires, and analysis of such survey questionnaires has been done, and to triangulate the results found from the quantitative approach or the quantitative data and the quantitative analysis, we employed also qualitative data tools, mainly of key format interviews and document reviews. In studying this method, we addressed three study areas that are selected purposively, considering their availability of technological infrastructures, and second, how the population of students with disabilities in these institutions. So it's within this basics that we selected University of Gondar, Atsaba University, and Bahada University, which are three of the most known and influential first generation universities in Ethiopia. So having said this, after studying and analyzing all these data, we have come with the following findings. So the first thing that our study shows is that implementation of e-learning in a way to help the teaching and learning process to minimize learning barriers for students with disabilities is a crucial element to, after all, enable students grasp, what they are going to grasp in the learning. So the accessibility issues or inclusivity issues of for students with disabilities in higher education is the issue of basic right. So if such elements are not observed, then we claim that the basic rights, the basic human rights and interests of students with disabilities would be ignored and would not be imply a systemic violation of their rights, and that would in a way marginalize their interest. So so it is within this perspective that we studied sorry, the previous slide. So the key findings in this regard is that the positive opinion and ability issues, or the perception and capacity issues, are considered to ensure that whether e-learning for inclusive higher education can be, after all, employed as a mechanism. So if there is no capacity issue, or if there is a capacity problem and perception problems, that would eventually make a problem to use e-learning to help students with disabilities needs and interests. So mainly there is positive opinion positive opinion from students with disabilities, and most of them also have the ability to use such educational technology tools to help their teaching and learning activity. However, there is a negative perception problem in the selected universities, as our research shows. So mainly teachers are not as such keen to use educational technology tools to support their learning, and mainly to enable students with disabilities use those tools to help their learning. At institutional level, we have come to the finding that even though most universities have the ICT infrastructure, the basic ICT infrastructure, uh, using such infrastructures in a way to help the teaching and learning process is actually insufficient. So it's with this setting that students with disabilities are following their learning. To make things worse, the national educational policies, strategies, and legislative documents, even though they are cognizant that uh, e-learning or technological tools can minimize the academic barriers that could students with disabilities face, Uh, in the setting of higher education, specifically, ICT infrastructures and e-learning tools are not recognized as a way or as inclusive mechanisms. So, in general, the policy is welcoming, the educational policies are welcoming, but higher educational specific policies concerning higher education institutions are not uh, that that clear in recognizing inclusivity, together with e-learning. Okay. Thank you very much. So mainly that's all. That's some of the findings that could be noted in our study. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tariko. And in the interest of time, we'll just quickly run to our next presentation, and we'll just go right away to Leon, I hope. So Leon, take us through.
Yeah, thank you, dear presenter, dear participants. I'm from the University of Rwanda. I'm Leon Habomvura, instructional designer. And this research about need assessment for promoting transformational change towards accessibility in education and the competence mobilization for e-learning at the University of Rwanda has been made by a group of 5 UR staff. One is Theoneste Rutaisire, Dr. Jean de Dieu Yakaremye, Dr. Tanaz Dasson Gache, Dr. Justin Ushize Rutikanga, and me, the presenter, who is Leo Ntabomvura. So today I'm trying to share with you the research findings, what was guiding us as a problem statement that guide us to conduct this research. You know that during the COVID-19 pandemic, higher learning institutions, all of us, we have faced the challenges with student dissatisfaction with online education. Universities have done so many things. However, students are still encountering technological problem of insufficient digitalization education, the structure which is leaving a gap in education achievement between learners from different socioeconomic backgrounds, even the issue of lacking awareness of clear advantages and the drawbacks of using online learning materials. Also, we have been asking ourselves about the necessity of transformational change towards accessibility in education, and also the implication of the existing e-learning resources for teaching and learning among the academic staff and the students. Go to next slide. Next slide, please. So about the questionnaires that guided us through our research, first of all, we want to know and to understand the use of online educational resources among the University of Rwanda participants, and also to understand the purpose of using online educational resources and how participants are wishing to extend their knowledge. Oh, okay. And the preference participant, you allow me to switch on the camera because of light. So the preference of participant in terms of online education resource tools, even the participant degree of agreement on educational resources, and how they were prepared to attend seminars and training to enhance this use of online educational resources. Next slide. So the methodology that we used, you have used the mixed method of qualitative and quantitative. We have structured the questionnaires, and those questionnaires were shared online and offline through the University of Rwanda community. So our analysis was descriptive, and we have determined the percentage of answers using various Likert scales. And also we have calculated the difference between those scales. So the University of Rwanda population size being on 31,261, where we have academic staff, administrative staff, and the students. Our sample has stratified 247 academic staff, 109 supporting staff, and 1,532 students. Next slide. So our findings, first of all, starting from the point of the demographic, the University of Rwanda has stratified the inclusive academic staff on 13%, supporting staff 6%, and the learners on 81%. Based on the agenda, we have seen that 50.35% were male and 49.65% were female as the result for the professional. Next slide. I want to go straight to the findings. Yeah, thank you. On this point, it's about the types of materials that participants have been accessing and using. A considerable number of university community members have mentioned text, graph, and video, where the text is attracted on a number of 66.1% of the participant. So it seems not obviously that even though most of the participants use different types of online materials, a very small portion of 0.2 responded that they are using all formats of e-learning materials, that is text, graph, and videos. Go to next slide. Next slide. Okay, yeah, thank you. On this slide, it's about a third respondent feared that cheating, lack of interaction between teachers and the learners require too much self-motivation. So the lack of hands-on skills and inaccessibility to computer illiterate people are likely to hinder the quality of learning where e-learning is not coupled with face-to-face sessions. That was the feedback from this graph. And 16.3% of respondents have shown the concern that accrediting organs may not trust online-based courses, which means that the university community should sensitize to online teaching and learning to alleviate those doubts to people who might think that there is a bias. So about this, about the participant purpose and extent to use e-learning resources, the course materials development resources, we have counted that 59% of participants they need really to understand the concept. And for the aids in assignment and assessing lectures, material that lecturers are giving, we have encountered that 41% are accessed, and the findings indicate that the average degree to which e-learning resources could be used for 8 purposes that we have listed on that slide. Next. So the findings presented under this category, we have seen that the participant responses on the preference and the regularity of e-learning resources, the tools, the mostly used one, they are instructional-based tools like Google Classrooms, Blackboard, and things like that. So when we come to the recommendations, we know that to realize that Rwanda's vision is focusing on transforming into knowledge-based economy. It is very crucial to improve the quality of education. So one recommendation is first of all is to implement a continuous training program for all educators. This has been raised by all participants, even addressing the e-learning resources, fundamentals, even the ICT skills for efficient e-learning resources implementation that is needed. So conducting workshops has been mentioned as a key point that is required by staff and the students. E-learning training programs should be purposeful, yes, and the prioritizing the internet and the IT infrastructure. Thank you. In Rwanda, we say murakoze, to say thank you.
Okay, murakoze. Thank you so much, Leon. We'll move on to our final presentation, Dr. Vincent. And Dr. Vincent, yeah, take us through.
Thank you very much for giving me the floor. Like I said, my name is Vincent Filifli. I hold a PhD in agricultural economics. I'm a lecturer at the University of Abomey-Calavi, South of Africa, in West Africa. I'm also coordinator of University Pedagogy and Quality Assurance Center. So I'm here today to present to you the result of our research based on, culturally relevant pedagogy and students' preferences over online learning or teaching modalities in sub-Saharan African universities. The case of Abu Mekalavi. The study for which I was the PI, principal investigator, was conducted with my colleagues, Mr. Wuji Prosper and I. So I'm here to present to you the key findings. I will follow this plan. Next. We know that, we know that, yes. We know all that online education has grown at a faster rate over the last 3 decades, And we also know that its success, depends on, depend largely, on the use of student-centered lens, to teach students. Next. Okay, what we can know is that in sub-Saharan African universities, they used to use, computer assistant content to teach, they will move on online teaching or learning as recent as 2024. But the 2019 COVID pandemic, forced all universities to move on, online teaching. In the case of Abu Mekalavi University, they will move all teaching online, but at the same time, students face, many difficulties in following or in attending courses because they were not prepared, prepared for that. So they were gone on movement, they gone on movement, to protest, against that system, that transition. So after all, the Minister of Education that asked the university president, to shift online, also came after to say that teaching must come on the former traditional way. So that raised the issue of preparedness of these universities. So we designed this research to investigate, the preparedness of the University of Sub-Saharan African universities, to see whether they are very ready for shifting or not. And we designed a questionnaire, and then we selected, some departments, where students had the experience of learning online. So we recruited enumerators who conducted the study, data collection, and then after that, analyzed the data. And then you can see this one, that is the descriptive analysis. And we can see that the mean age of the students that were surveyed, was 20 years. So they are very young, they are first degree students, Next. And we ask them about factors that can facilitate, online learning. And then we ask them to choose among laptop owning, or data sharing connection points, or smartphone owning. And then by the same factors, we ask them to rank. That is the word was missing, to rank them. And then when we ask them this question, we discovered that the first facility that came up was laptop owning, because most of them are from the moderate families condition, and then it's not easy for them to buy a laptop. So for them, having a laptop is the first facility that can help them to attend online courses, and then that one was followed by the connection data support, and then follow connection point on campus, and after that, equipped lecture rooms, and then after that, phone owning. But I must tell you that those facilities are the important factors that can help students to attend courses in our countries. But owning laptop is not something that is easy for them. Each of them cannot afford, according to the condition, a laptop, you see. So also the government or the university does not have the possibility, to equip, all lectures room. So some lecture may be equipped. All students may not come there because it's a matter of massification. We have many students, so they cannot equip all the lecture rooms. So based on this, we also investigated, factors that can help them to prefer online courses or physical classroom courses. And then we run, statistical inferential mode analysis, and we discovered that factors such as, sex, age, scholarship, scholarship status, students has a scholarship or not, coming from mathematical background, or experience of 2022 COVID situation, outbreak, please, or internet source are the factors that influence the preference toward attending online courses.
Okay.
So based on this finding, we suggest that policies that can create, an enabling condition for students, to attend online courses, especially by providing students with connection, internet connection are necessary asset that they can get, or that policy maker can give. Because if they facilitate, access to internet to all students, bringing them into online courses will be very easy for them, because we have many courses, if students will attend them by buying themselves the connection, it will be very expensive to them. So they will not allow that. They will prefer, a physical attendance courses over the online one. So I think that at the end of my presentation, the time did not allow me to really go deep in the tables and other things. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vincent, and I thank all of you for such wonderful presentations. At this point, let me stop sharing the screen so that we could see, one another. Then we can now just have a few discussion points. So we will just start with, I think, Mr. Tariku, and just a few points on your presentation. So your research focus on, 3 universities in Ethiopia. How do you compare, in terms of ensuring inclusivity, e-learning, especially for students with disability, right? As you talked about, how do they compare? If you look at these 3 universities, were there any similarities? Were there any differences? If you could share something brief on that, then, we can now go to the participants' questions later.
Thank you, Prince. Thank you for my colleagues, Leon and Vincent, for the presentation also. To get into the discussion provided by Prince, yeah, we selected 3 universities. Once again, Bahada University, University of Gondar, and Addis Ababa University. The thing that we understood from this finding is that the 3 universities have something similar in a way that all of them have significant ICT infrastructure development, at least in the context of Ethiopia. They have a better infrastructure development. For example, they have computer laboratories, they have digital libraries, there is free Wi-Fi internet access for everyone. There is LAN internet connectivity in all university campuses. So all the campuses are connected in LAN internet connectivity. There is even customized LMS or learning management systems that could be even used to launch learning activities, or at least share resources and the like. There are also even smart classes, even teleconferencing tools and the like. But the key element is that perhaps also something that also kind of makes this university similar is that the linkage or the integration and implementation of these edtech tools or these e-learning tools to use in the context of, I mean, like these integrations or the linkage with inclusivity of education in these institutions is actually insignificant. So, that's something that also makes this university similar. But the better development or better sides are found from Addis Ababa University and Bahada University, actually, because these universities made some better implementation in e-learning. So they have better progresses, especially in preparing at least policy documents. They have, for example, manuals and the guidelines that could guide or that could be used as a point of reference for the teachers and the students when they use such e-learning tools. They also have this. They even have this organized team. For example, the learning and teaching technology team is found in the universities. So this team is there to implement e-learning in the teaching and learning process. But even like when you compare also Bahada University and Addis Ababa University, which also look kind of better, there is better development from Bahada University because they specifically have ICT and inclusive education be integrated, at least for the interest of students with disabilities. For example, there is a laboratory that helps students with disabilities to have access to learning resources. So that way, this like we can say that Bahada University has better progress out of this three. But one thing is for sure, and that is that overall there is inadequate practice and inadequate implementation of e-learning, typically in the meeting of or in the accommodation of interests of students with disabilities, because students with disabilities face a lot of learning challenges. There are a lot of learning barriers, and two, there is little has been done to use these tools, these technologies to support the needs of students with disabilities. And that's because after all, there is a weaker policy documentation, or at least policy instrumentality or legal instrumentality in mapping the use of the technology to enable inclusive education of all students with disabilities.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
if
thank
that
you
may
so
answer you.
much.
So thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much. For the sake of time, I think when we get to the next questions, when we get to the audience, you'll be able to add more to that. Leo, very, very interesting presentation. For you, one of the things that we've been thinking about is what, measures has the University of Rwanda taken, I think specifically to ensure that students with special needs, for example, students who are visually impaired can access digital online learning. If you could just share something very brief with us, how University of Rwanda has taken steps to ensure that students with special needs can access digital learning resources.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Prince. Thank you, the audience. The University of Rwanda is increasingly adopting measures to ensure accessibility for students with disabilities, including those with visual impairment, respecting the university, the universal design for learning principles that we have been trained by Arizona State University. And the University of Rwanda also is trying to ensure that the learning management system that we have, which is Moodle-based, as I said, and the other digital platforms used for course materials, first of all, are accessible to some reading tools like screen reader, JUICE, things like that. Also, the course materials that are being produced, including textbooks, lecture notes, and other resources, are provided in accessible formats, such as in Braille, where we have the campuses with people with visual impairment. We have resource rooms, and from those resource rooms, they are producing Braille for those students. And we have also some assistive technologies that the university is putting in place to support those students with learning difficulties. Apart from that, in all training that we are conducting in nowadays, we are focusing on the creation of accessible digital content using assistive technologies. And also the university has implemented the policy that all of us are trying to respect, to ensure that all digital content and technologies are accessible to students with any learning barrier. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. That's wonderful to hear that University of Rwanda is doing that. Yeah, so Dr. Vincent, in your study, and I think especially when you look at the findings that you shared with us, most of the students felt that the course was not adapted to their African culture. What should, in your opinion, what should universities and faculty do to ensure that courses are, adopted to, suit students' social, cultural needs, right? We can't just copy blindly. So from your findings, that was something that was strongly, I think, it came out in your paper. So could you share, in your opinion, what do you think institutions and faculty can do to ensure courses are adapted to students' social cultural needs? Sorry, Dr. Vincent, I don't know if you can hear me. I think you're mute. Maybe the network.
Like mentioned, yes, I'm hearing you. I'm
Okay.
getting you.
Good, good.
Are you not getting me?
Yeah, we lost
Can I
you.
be good?
Yes, you are good. We
It's
lost
okay?
you. You are good. You are good now. Yes. So briefly, let's hear you. Good.
Okay.
We are sorry. It seems Dr. Vincent.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Hello.
Effectively, in our
Hello, Vincent.
study, we found out that students felt that the course content, did not reflect, yes.
Hello, Vincent. If you could put your video off to probably help with.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. If you could put your video off.
Hello? Can you hear me?
If you could put
Can
your
you hear
video.
me?
Hello?
Okay,
Hello?
okay.
If you could put your video off, it will
Can you
help.
hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Already done it.
Yes.
Can you now get me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Vincent. Go ahead.
I can move on.
Yes. Please go ahead. Just briefly.
Okay, thank you very much. I was saying that it's true that students felt that the course content that were taught to them was not relevant to their culture. And we find out that we question the course material that lecturer runs, to those students, and we discovered that most of the lecturers, did not study in African university. They study in the Northern, university, and then most of them, when coming to lecture, just use the course in which they were trained, when they were studying. So they just take it like this and then start running the courses. So the courses, for that reason, because content was not, did not match with our culture, our cultural, specificities. So when we question them, those are the things they said. Sometimes they said that the inventors of some equipment they use are not from Africa, and then to take some examples, lecturer based, they speak, on those inventors that are from northern countries that students don't know, you see. So about that, since I'm also from the university pedagogy and quality assurance center, the universities are trying now in our country, to design the course content that will reflect, our condition, our culture, so that by running the course, students may find that they are really at home, not that they were brought somewhere, something like this, you see. But I can also mitigate the speech by saying that this finding is not much. If you question the research and then you read very well what I wrote, those who said it were not many. See, meaning that in some department, lecturer, made, much effort to take, some examples that are from home, that student, that can help students to well understand, the teaching. Okay. So those are things we can say about that questions. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. At this point, we'll just open the floor to take participants' questions. So I think my colleagues will help me out here, but I'm going to the Padlet first, and as well as the comment to see. But if any of you have a question here that you would like to just unmute yourself and ask, please, you're welcome to do so. Let's see. So there's one question for you. I think, Leo, that asks the team at University of Rwanda how they are mitigating with laptop problems. And we know that Rwanda is a bit far in internet connectivity, and how is it coming as a challenge? So, Leo, there is a question here that, the challenge of laptops, having enough laptops for students to be able to ensure that everybody have this. How is University of Rwanda dealing with that? That is just one question. So if you could, briefly just share with us, then I think I'll move to the chat to see if there are further questions.
Yeah, thank you for the good question. The University of Rwanda has initiated what we call laptops loan scheme. Yeah, it's a program here in Rwanda which is giving every student at the university level a laptop under contractual terms similar to the ones of tuition fee loan. You understand that at COVID, during the COVID time, where all of us were obliged to go online, it was a problem, and the government has realized that something should be done, because before it has been being done on the secondary schools where all lecturers or teachers have been given laptops, and they realized that even at the universities they should be given laptops. So the university is trying to sort out that problem like that, and up to now, I think more than 50% of students of the University of Rwanda have been given laptops, and it's a continuous activity under loan scheme. Yeah, I think that is clear. They're trying to hand out like that, even empowering the local area networks, even the computer labs to the campus. The University of Rwanda really is putting much more effort. So about the internet, normally Rwanda is covered by fiber optics in the whole country. The Rwanda is covered with fiber optics. Everywhere you can go, you can get fiber optics access. But when it comes to payment of internet, even to learning environment, it's a big issue. Nowadays, in our center, we are trying to implement what we call mirroring technologies where we need the students can access the nearest servers without cost, with the zero rates, is what we're trying to do. And we are trying to duplicate our e-learning servers in all campuses so that whenever they will be into the campus, they can have access to those servers without cost within their VLANs, virtual local area networks. So we are trying to deal in those things like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's so insightful. And this question is from Godfred, and I think it's to the three of you. So any one of you could take it. What is the number of students with disability in your universities? Do you have a designated office to take care of students on issue of inclusion? So Vincent, Tariku, and Leo, any of you, what's the number of disabilities? If you have a fair idea of the number of students with disability in your school, and if you have a special office that helps with issues of inclusivity.
May I go on? Okay. Well, actually, the number of students with disabilities in our universities, in the City of Universities, is not actually. I don't have the number right now because actually the number varies every year since there is graduation every year, and the number of intakes every year is different. So we've got to we need to ask the relevant office to get this data. So this is specific data, so I don't have it for now. But as for the next segment of the question concerning whether there is an office that is there to oversight and ensure inclusivity of education. Yeah, actually there is an office even with the specific name of inclusive education. So an office of inclusive education. There is an office. So one of the things that we also addressed in the research question, I mean in the survey question that we dispatched to the respondents of each university's officials, was how these the inclusive officers are collaborating with the ICT department, so or the ICT directors. So if the relation is kind of loose, then there is no wonder that inclusivity would be ignored in the educational technologies and how this technology could integrate, integrated to help students with disabilities. So yeah, so indeed there is the office, but it needs further collaboration and further capacity building to ensure, and that's why we need the legal and policy rules. So if we have a policy and a legal document, those policy and legal documents would have eventually forced these institutions to collaborate. So it would not be the matter of choice for these institutions, but a matter of responsibility for these institutions to collaborate so that they can integrate EdTech with, inclusive education in a way that helps students with disabilities. So yeah, thank you very much. That's how I would respond. Thank you.
Thank you. Vincent, do you have any response, if you have an idea of if there's an office for that, and if you have a fair idea of the students with disability?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can you get me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Please.
yes. Please go ahead. Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me? Are you getting me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, we have about 150, students that are in disability, conditions. So we also have an office that take care of them, their condition, translate, courses into their languages so that they can hear what the lecturers, are saying. But most of the time, the interpreters, are not as many as, courses can be run simultaneously, in many lecture rooms. Suppose that there are 7 courses that are being run, at the same time. If in all the courses, the classes, there is a need of interpreting, the courses or the class into the language, it may be difficult because that office does not have many human resources, you see. So I think there are about four. That sometimes I share, in the lecture rooms to interpret, what the lecturer you see is saying. Those that cannot hear or those that cannot see. So there are many kind of disabilities. It may be a person that cannot hear. It may be a person that cannot see.
Okay.
It may be a person that cannot work very well. So for those persons, that there is no problem because it's up for them to be taken into the class and then or in the lecturer room, and then they can attend the course. But the most difficult one are the one that cannot see at all. So they have the way of writing but those people can hear, you see. So those that cannot hear at all, you see, those people that cannot hear at all, those are the ones that use, we call it in French, braille. They have a way of reading, you see. So those who are in that office try much, to attend to those people suffering from disabilities.
Okay.
But that office needs also to be equipped, both in staff and in equipment, you see. So that is what I can say.
Okay.
About that.
Thank you so much, Vincent. We are running out of time, but I don't know if Leo, you have a few words to just share about if you have a specific office that is just in charge of that.
Yes. I've mentioned even these in my presentation. The University of Rwanda has installed what we call resource rooms. Resource rooms, they are the centers that are in charge of supporting people students with learning barrier. We call it the centers for inclusive and special needs.
Mm-hmm.
And also we have a school specific for that.
Oh, sorry about that. Just sorry, a quick one. Leo, just go ahead. Yeah. Oh. Mute. Okay.
Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leo,
I
sorry
was saying
about that.
Yeah, I say that we have resource centers. We call them resource rooms at the college levels. They're trying to support all of those students and the lecturers, because we have some lecturers also with those issues. We have those who have visual impairment. We have some professors, and the teaching materials are being produced in those resource centers. Even the assistive technologies like braille, JUICE, they are running in those centers. About the number, I don't really have the exact number. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, we are almost out of time, and we want to thank all of you for hanging in with us. I think on the high level, we see how these 3 different universities, the kind of policies they have in place, the kind of steps they are taking to ensure that issues of inclusivity are addressed effectively, to be able to get, all learners, irrespective of whatever the context might be, to learn effectively. We've also heard of how, culture plays a big role in this, and you just don't take things from the global north or from anywhere. So I think at a high level, those are things that we are all going away. And I think we should all be asking ourselves, when it comes to inclusivity within our own institutions, how are our institutions dealing with that? And with that, I just want to thank all of you once again. If you have questions, please just share with us. And for our next webinar, our next webinars are going to be this. We will encourage you to, make time and join us on the next one. So if you could see my screen, this is
Prince,
Uh,
we can see your screen. Maybe
oh, sorry. I thought you were able to see. Okay. So, okay, all right. So our next webinar is our next one. If you could see my screen, we have one coming up on the 26th. It's on online learning student success. Then we have another one on April 9th. Then the last one is going to be around April 30th on youth perspective and experiences. So we encourage all of you to register and come and let's learn together. In terms of our presenters today, we want to thank you once again. And if anyone here would like to stay in touch with them, this is their contact information. Please reach out and let's build good partnerships. Let's see how we can stay in touch and contribute and bring about improvement in our various institutions and in our various geographic settings. So with that, once again, I want to thank everyone who made it, and we have a link in the chat. Please just give us feedback for today, and you sure can you are sure that within the next one, we can take that feedback into consideration. And I believe by now the link is already dropped in the chat for everyone.
sure. Yeah, thank you so much, Prince. And I'd just like to add, like, we can take like 5 more if people can leave as they would wish. But if anybody has a burning question for our presenters, we can just say like 2 or 3 minutes so we don't lock it out. And we've also provided their email addresses. Please feel free to connect with them and also the eLearning initiative at any point.
Absolutely. So if there's any burning question, just before we go, please feel free to ask. But if not, we want to thank each and every one of you here. I want to thank my colleagues, our team in Kenya, our team here in the US. And once again, a big round of applause to our presenters for all the wonderful work. And we are looking forward to, staying in touch and doing more work together. So let me stop sharing my screen so that we can see each other. But if there is any burning question, okay. Pauline, did I miss any question in the chat?
We don't have we don't have any question in the chat as of now.
Okay.
The only question that we did not cover in the in Padlet was issues around AI and how that is helping, and what are your thoughts on how it can help in developing materials around accessibility and culturally relevant materials. But other than that, if there's a quick comment as we drop, yeah, but that's all. Thank you so much.
For the Padlet, we see that we see it as an ongoing conversation. So extending even beyond the webinar. So Leon and Tariko and Vincent, if you have a chance, please drop by the Padlet and add your responses if possible. Yeah.
Excellent. And just a quick one, someone, yes, the webinars, you can say like within a month. So for example, the next one, so the question in the chat, the next one is going to be on the 26th, then the next one will be in April, then the next one will be end of April. So not exactly month by month as in 30 days to 30 days, but roughly, a few weeks apart. So I hope that answers it for you. And if you have questions, feel free to always reach out to us.
Sure.
Okay, so thank you. And Leo, Vincent, and Tariko, thank you. That was wonderful presentations. And
Can I share just a word?
Thank
yes,
you.
please go ahead. We still have participants here.
Okay. I have been putting pressure on Dr. Pauline about a certificate about the small grants we received. Is important to hold the certificate to show that we have received such a grant and that we might need to conduct research. A successful research. So it can give holders or winners, to upgrade, the chance to win another grant for the future. So I requested that. Dr. Pulin told me that the information has been forwarded to the most high authorities of the Arizona State University Mastercard-based Mastercard eLearning team. So far, I don't know how well it has been processed. So since many years are here, another year, so I would like to, to raise again the question or the request to see what can be said again. Thank you very much.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Vincent. Definitely, we are working on it. I know I've told you that a couple of times, and in fact, Prince is finalizing, and then just putting the signatures from the project leadership, so that, and then we'll figure out how to share those ones. But it is in progress. We haven't forgotten, and we appreciate everyone for the great work that you've done.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. Yeah,
God
they are
bless you.
coming, but please keep checking in with me. I appreciate that.
Okay, great.
Um,
Thanks.
Any quick question? So yes, Vincent, we are working on that, and very soon you should. We finished them, Pauline. That is a good reminder. You and I should connect because we are actually done with it.
Okay, thank you very
much.
I'm muted. Did you have a comment?
Yeah, Tarigo, yes. Go ahead.
It's just yeah, but I want to thank you all, and it's been actually a long way in this research project, and I think it was also a great experience for me as an educator and as an e-learning champion and as a lawyer to kind of have this research experience in integrating technology, learning, and the law. So this is actually the chance and triumph that is, achieved with this small grant. Though it's small grant, the outcomes are actually very helpful, and these are going to be eye-openers for institutions and researchers as well. So I would invite the participants to kind of read the full links and have comments and share with us so that we can also reach it furthermore, and we can also come up with more research ideas and more strengthening topics out of this same issues. So that's that's actually what I get from the presentations and the discussions. So yeah, I would love the discussion to go on a little bit more, but it's for the interest of time, we've got to stop it here. And yeah, it's a great experience for me too. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much. And yeah.
Before finish, can I have a point? Thank you, Tarico, and also Dr. Vincent, for mentioning something about the publication and the certificate. I think that even if we haven't got the certification ready, just a word from the Merck team, A4 team, is please share. Feel free to share your publication, the working papers that already on the website to as many colleagues as possible. We believe that it is the best certification we received so far, so please feel free to disseminate and get citation as much as possible. And also a note, a quick update for you. I already reached out to some of you that our team also conducting some updated research studies. So we would like to have your support and collaboration moving forward, especially during the collection, the time we collect data during this week. So if we have some time, please share with us your perspectives and suggestions as well. So thank you so much, and we hope that we will continue our collaboration. We really appreciate your time and contribution today. Yeah.
Wait, a word.
Go ahead. You have a question?
Yes. Yes, on that, I would like to to understand this aspect of the process, because before we were informed that some paper will be published as a working paper, but after that, some journal may work with us so that we can upgrade, improve on the papers, the working paper, to draw, paper, publishing paper, to publish them in academic journals. So I would like to know whether that process or that issue is also on, or we finish with the papers or paper publication issues like this, just to understand.
Really really
Yeah,
timely
thank you so
question.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a timely question. In fact, because we are for these papers for the special issue journal, we have to submit a proposal. Then, if it is accepted, we move on to the next steps. So, just to share some good news, like one of the journal articles has accepted our proposal to share at least some of the projects in a journal article, and that one will be sharing from March 1st. Like the initial special issue. We have 2 special issues we've had from one. So expect emails from March 1st or March 29th, and then you can start working on that. But again, it should not be duplicating what you have. You have to meet the journal article requirements. Maybe you might have to change the title, so there's a little bit, or maybe you might have to add some more discussions and just a little bit of writing to meet the specifications. They are short. And although we have 17 projects, only like 6, 7 will be published, but we have another journal. So it is like more competitive, but it is coming your way. So just get ready. We have one that is coming soon before we hear from the other journal article.
All right. So thank you, everyone, once again. To those of you who were able to join us, we want to thank you for even staying on up to this time. Thank you to our 3 wonderful presenters. And as you've heard, we are going to reach out to all of you very soon for the next stage of publishing the papers, whether it's the journal article, and like Hon said, please share the articles that have been published. That's the best certification at the moment. The more, you share you out there, people read your work, people cite it. That is more than any other thing. So I want to thank everyone. And this is where we draw the curtains down for the day. And yeah, for those that have questions, and we want to thank Kim. I didn't see Kim early. I should have, because Kim, was one of the instructors. So I'm just seeing Kim now. But Kim, we are thankful that you are here. So yes, everyone here, thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing all of you in the FEEB webinar, which is on March 26th. So have a great day, have a great evening, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great night, depending on whatever your time is. And we are looking forward to seeing all of you in March.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Perfect. Thank you, colleagues.
And nice to see you.